All right, so we are live. Today is October 11th, 2023, and we are happy to be here with you guys, myself and Matt. We are going to probably spend around an hour together. If we have to go for a little more, no problem. Definitely, we're going to be looking at what kind of questions you guys have because I'm a big believer that the biggest value we can bring only if you do have questions, because the questions they're more focused and we can go deep into answering those questions. So please make sure you have them. Otherwise, we are going to have the presentation going and discussing the issues that we want to discuss today, and that's basically EB-5 visa and everything that has to do with this program, the criteria, the business plans, the work of attorneys, and everything that you need to know in order to participate in this program. And definitely, we aiming to boost your chances to the maximum for approval in this program, and that's why you guys have two specialists, two experts, Matt and myself, in this program, and we're going to be going together, covering the presentation and answering your questions. So guys, those of you who are already here, and we had about 100 registrations, and as always, not everybody's going to show up, but let's see where you guys from. Definitely drop your location, which country you may drop your city where you're located. Let's see the geography of where you're from, and that's very important because, as you know, the country of your birth and your citizen is very important for the purpose of program EB-5, because you may have a different treatment from USIS depending on your country. So let's see what's going on. Okay, I see North Macedonia. Okay, very good. And we know that Macedonia had rebranding recently. So North Macedonia. Don't be shy, guys. Don't be shy. It's time to drop your location and geography. While you're doing that, and if you hear me, also you can. If you want to share your location, just let us know if you can hear us and see us, because that's also very important. So these are the key topics we're going to be discussing today, and they're all on the screen. Definitely. The main takeaways from EB-5 visa. We are going to be discussing the comprehensive business plans for EB-5 visa and the role for the whole process. We are going to be talking about the job creation and economic impact for the purpose of satisfying the criteria of this program, and definitely everything that you need to know in order to get a successful approval for your EB-5 visa. All right, guys, how to make the most of our webinar. And I can see already people who are attending this webinar not for the first time, maybe second, maybe third, so you guys know it. But again, I'm going to tell this to everybody who's here for the first time. I would love that you put everything aside besides the device you're watching this webinar on, okay? This is crucial because nobody's going to rewatch this webinar ever, even if you're recording it, and we know this. So we need your focus for at least an hour, okay? And make sure, guys, hi Xenia, and I see there's Macedonia also. So we have, guys, North Macedonia and Macedonia is the same thing, right? So I just want to make sure that we don't differentiate. I want you guys to take notes, all right? Because if you hear a good piece of information, take a note, because otherwise it's going to go out your brain, you will forget. Also, if you did not hear a topic that Matt and myself are going to be covering today, make sure you comment and say, hey guys, you didn't share that you're gonna go in a proof of funds or something like that. Okay, if you have topics you want us to discuss, definitely drop that down in the comment section so we could pay attention and know what's going on with the where is your interest. Okay, so this is very important. Now let's start. We just warmed up a little bit. Let me briefly introduce myself, and then Matt is going to introduce himself, and we're just going to go deep into the presentation, in a discussion, so we don't waste anybody's time. So I'm Stanislav Shamaev. I'm located here in Miami. You can see we have a little bit cloudy weather today, which is not going to interfere with us whatsoever. I actually just talked to my mom from she's from Russia. She lives in Russia. She said, "Hey, we got first snow." I was like, "Jesus Christ!" And we still have summer, so there's a difference in that. I'm the founding attorney and the leading attorney in a corporation which we call Shamaev Business Law. We specialize in business, investor, and talent visas. And definitely a part of the practice devoted to EB-5 visas. We have over 2,000 approvals for the visas that we do for the clients from more than 50 countries in the world. We just got a fresh approval for our client from Brazil. She got approval for O1B. We got a fresh approval from our client from Cameroon. He got his approval for O1A in a business category. We start getting the approvals for EB-5 visa from back in 2019. Don't be scared about the dates, because we're going to discuss with Matt how what kind of business you should take part in to be able to get a faster approval for the purpose of EB-5. So there are some solutions here. Also, I'm an active member of Florida State and Broward County Bar Associations, and I can practice law not only in Florida but for the immigration purposes in any state in the United States of America, and I can practice law in the Florida Appellate Courts and 11th Federal District, which covers 3 states in the southeastern part of the U.S. Also, my company has over 100 people, 10 departments, and we work only for one purpose: to get you the result. Okay, that's the main thing that we get. Now, Matt, the ball is on your side. Tell us about yourself, about your company, what we need to know about you, and what's going on.
Yeah, thank you, Stanislav. I appreciate you having me here. So, immigration is something very dear to my heart, and I'll tell you a little bit about my background and how I got here. So, new ventures, startup, immigration is literally the soul of our business model today. Just to give you my background, I literally started my career in a startup. I got thrown into a e-commerce startup in the early 2000s, back literally when I graduated school. And we grew a company from 0 to $100 million. I had the privilege of becoming a marketing and sales director. So have really hands-on experience with entrepreneurship, starting companies. I had my own startup in 2013, starting a SaaS company, had an exit there. And through that experience, I love preparing business plans, pitch decks, and sharing with other entrepreneurs how to go through that journey. After I started all these ventures, I went back to school just to get some love and be able to dive into academia. And I found that through business planning, we had a real important message to share, that everyone can learn from planning and putting the right foundation together when starting any new type of venture. Through this, I was lucky enough to win a number of awards, pitch competitions, business plan competitions, and we accidentally started an agency to help other founders to help them prepare their business plans.
I love accidentally part of it. How did that happen?
It's always the best, right? Like serendipitous type businesses, because it's so organic and genuine that way. So yeah, once I decided to start this agency, I said immigration is so dear to my heart. I'm born in this country because of immigration. My parents grew up in Iran and took the last flight out in 1979, right during the revolution. And most immigrants, right, they're the engine behind this company, to this country, and it's small businesses, new ventures that are the lifeblood of America. And immigrants are one of the best sources of that. And they do sometimes much better than even native U.S. born people because we have fresh perspective coming to this country. So my experience with immigration is considerable. EB-5, I've learned about this program earlier on before it was a more recognized program, and I was called on to be an expert witness after doing a number of cases, and really got to understand from a legal perspective what makes a compliant business plan and how to avoid litigation. Through that, I've also became registered with a broker-dealer, being able to advise clients on how to invest in the right projects. And these are the same clients we prepare plans for so they can be approved for USCIS. Recently, I was awarded literally the best EB-5 business plan writer by EB-5 investors and spoke on a lot of panels there. So definitely a lot I will share with everyone. And it's just so important for me to see eager entrepreneurs coming to this country, putting hard-earned dollars, creating jobs, and making this country better. So Stanislav, it's an absolute pleasure to be able to share this incredible program with other entrepreneurs here.
Oh, this is so good. You can tell, guys, not everybody wanted to share their location, which is a little bit upsetting for me. But hey, Matthew's background is Iranian. My background is Russian. We have people from Macedonia here. So that's already showing that the scope and the geography of this program. And we have Anna from Russia also. And I do agree that bringing people here, immigrants, especially people with the capital who wants to contribute in this country and grow the jobs, and I think that's amazing. And we have Dennis from Moldova living in Spain. So look, the geography is just amazing. Okay, let's go to the heart of our presentation, our discussion. And I'm glad, Matt, you're here with us today, so you could show the expertise from the other side of this process, because I'll be taking part, I'll be explaining more the legal part, you'll be explaining more the business side, and that's the great combination that we have for this presentation. And yes, Miss Kalcheva, thank you. You're also from Bulgaria. Very good, very good. So pretty good geography here. Thank you for being more active, guys. And I can tell that the people who come to prior streams, you guys more active. I appreciate you. I love you for that. So you guys stick to the end, and we have a couple of gifts for you. I have a free evaluation of your case. So those of you who want to get we call it a free evaluation, but think of it as almost like a free consultation that other attorneys charge you like $300, $400. We do it in my company a little bit differently. We remove those walls between the potential clients and our company. We freely evaluate your case and let you know if you have a potential, and if you do, then we continue with you. So you'll learn how to get that free evaluation. And also, guys, very important, we're going to be discussing more active investment when you want to put your money into your own business and control and direct your business. But also there is a second part of the program, and Matt of course knows about it. It's passive investment through the regional center. So I have my own guide prepared special for you guys to on how to choose a good regional center. Okay, and there's a bunch of criteria, and if you don't have that guide and you're going the passive way with the EB-5, I mean that's almost sinful in this case. So stick to the end. You'll get those gifts from myself. And Matt, remind me, you have something in the pocket also, right, for those who are here with us?
Yes, absolutely. Upon request, anyone is welcome for a free consultation as well. 30 minutes. We can talk about a strategy on how to build a business plan to execute your goals. And then we also are giving away free business plans for EB-5 or non-EB-5 or anything entrepreneurial. If anyone wants to see what a proper business plan looks like. So reach out to me. Our website is planwriters.net. Make the request, and just like Stanislav said, no friction. We'll make this very easy for you, and we're here to help.
Good, and we'll definitely provide all the links for you guys, and you'll get an email with the links. So don't worry about writing things down right now. You'll get all the links, all the accesses. So make sure that you do contact Matt and his team once you have the questions about business plans and the maybe analytics for some type of business here in the States, or maybe even other visa programs. Okay, so make sure that you do that. So let's now discuss the EB-5 visa requirements, and I'm going to be brief, I promise, guys, and pretty much I'm pretty sure because you guys watching my YouTube channel, you subscribe to my Instagram, and maybe you follow me on TikTok, and we definitely cover the topic of the requirements all the time. So let's spend just a minute here. EB-5 program has basically very few requirements if we look at this in a nutshell. And basically, like I mentioned before, we have two types of, there's more, but for the ease of understanding, we just call them active investment and passive investment. For the purpose of the passive investment, we use the sum of $800,000. That's when you go through the regional center. And for the purpose of active investment, we use a number, the sum of $1,050,000, provided that the business is not in a special area, the TA area, where there is like no employment and things like that. So even with the active investment, we still can go down in some cases to $800,000. But again, we're not gonna be exhausting you guys with a lot of details. Just remember, for the active investment, it's $1 million. For the passive, it's $800,000. Definitely, the investment should be made in a commercial enterprise, commercial entity in the US. If it's a regional center passive investment, that's somebody else's business. If it's your own enterprise business, that's of course your own company. And in both cases, 10 full-time jobs need to be created in that enterprise. If you guys work with the regional centers, they take care of that themselves. Okay. If you work in your own business, which you control and direct, this is your burden to create those jobs within 2 years after the approval of the first green card, and have it already when you file for the 10-year green card in about 2 years. The benefits are pretty easy. I mean, who wants to discuss the benefits of the green card? I mean, that's obvious. You can live in the States and work. Definitely, if it's an active investment and it's your own business, you need to work in your own company, control and direct. Your family, your spouse, and your kids who are below 21, you're under 21 years old and not married, they will also get the green card, and they will be able to work anywhere they want and travel in, out of the States with no limitations. And of course, 6-month presence is a must, but that applies to all green cards that you get regardless of the program. So in 5 years, you'll be able to file for your passport, provided, of course, you got your 10-year green card after 2 years, after you proved that you created 10 jobs if it's an active investment, or your regional center created 10 jobs on their own, depending which side of the program you are participating. Okay, let's move on. Again, not going to spend a lot of time here because we want to focus more on active investment. That's where the business plan actually comes in, and this is very important. But in short, what is the regional center? What's the role if it's a passive investment? Regional center is basically usually American development company they are accredited and licensed by the US government to basically accept the money from the foreign investors in exchange for the green cards that are coming from the US government. So when you work with the regional center, you need to make sure that they have a license, okay? Because we have cases in the past where there was some fraud going on, so it's important to understand that this is a licensed entity. Definitely, they role also to create the jobs for you. So they have their own business plans. And by the way, Matt, you guys work with regional centers to create the business plans for them also.
Absolutely, all the time.
Good. So yeah, and it's good that Matt's company have experience for both sides, active and passive, because that's when you actually see the full picture for both sides of the program, and making sure that an active business plan and passive business plan for the regional center are of the highest quality. They also, I don't want to spend much time here for the regional centers, because basically they provide pretty much
The role of a regional center is: do you want to make an investment, take a lower rate of return? Oh, Stanislav, I was just filling in while you were.
Thank you. Something happened, some technical issue. We're back. Matt, thank you for covering for me for a little bit.
Sure.
You know what? It's a sign that we need to move on from regional centers to something that's we need to cover more. Okay, we already talked about the benefits of EB-5 program. They're all on the screen, but let me guys touch on one more thing for the requirements for EB-5, and it wasn't on the slide just because it's so big. It's like almost an elephant in the room. And of course, we need to prove the source of your funding. And by the way, regardless if you are participating in an active or a passive investment side of it. So what's the proof of the source of funds is basically we need to show that the way you made your money, the way you transferred that money from the original source of funds to your EB-5 program, and that you paid taxes on all the transactions involved in this scheme. Okay, so make sure when you think about your EB-5 program, and when you, for example, filling out the questionnaire for the free evaluation for myself, you explain how exactly you made that money, when did it happen, and whether you have all the tax declarations for these years explaining and matching the how much money you made with the source of funding. So this is very important. Again, today we could make the whole webinar on this topic with Matt, but because today we want to talk more about the business plans and good business plans and the role, we're going to touch on the proof of funds, but shortly. Okay, so you must know that's number one requirement for EB-5, and that's number one reason for the denials. In my company, we have for almost over 8 years of working in this space, we have zero denials for EB-5, regardless if it's a change of status, the fresh cases, let's call it adjustment of status, more precise term, or if it's the consular processing. Okay, why? Because we put a lot of attention how you made your money, and if we can make sure that the immigration officer understands what's going on with the case. Okay, now let's talk more about the business plans. And we're gonna be touching on all these topics for that you can see on the screen. And Matt, now is the ball on your side. Let's touch on all of which topics one by one, and you'll be telling us your vision of that. I will be asking you questions, and let's see how if we have questions from people who are watching right now live, and let's keep it going like that.
Yeah, thank you, Stanislav. So definitely my favorite topic here, your business plan. So while your legal documentation is so important, really your business plan is the essence of the application. This is like your resume. This is why you should be considered to get this green card, right? And this is really kind of encompasses the whole spirit of the program. So an immigration officer looks at a business plan from a unique perspective, right? So there is something known as matter of hope, which is a legal precedent that says what goes into a business plan. At a high level, it needs to meet the following criteria. Number one, your business plan has to be credible. What does credibility mean, right? Can you make assertions supported by third-party, unbiased sources? The stronger the sources, the better. Anyone can make claims that businesses are going to grow, that jobs are going to be created, but can you back that up with detailed market research that makes sense? As you see on this first slide, it has to be comprehensive. What does comprehensive mean according to USIS? If you really dwell into this, it needs to meet the same level of scrutiny that a sophisticated investor is going to look at, right? So I'm a little different than other maybe service providers. There are a lot of people out there that want to make very long technical plans, right? These business plans are very important. They have to be incredibly detailed, and there's a lot of information. But these days, people do not like to read. It has to be understandable, right? And who is an immigration officer? This guy does not work at Microsoft. He's not a venture partner, right? They have a level of sophistication, but not the same as you'd expect in maybe corporate America or Silicon Valley, right? So you have to balance a couple of things: simplicity, understandable, relatability, right? And detail, right? That maybe a sophisticated investor would want to know. So there's a little bit of an art to that, right? And then the other kind of component of this is this clear? Is this understandable? So there's something that has come after matter of hope. It's called matter of Izumi, right? And you have to, there's a lot of cool business ideas out there, but an immigration officer has to understand it, right, when they read it. So I'll give you an example. I have a client came up with an incredibly complex financial structure to create cryptocurrencies and creating jobs in a highly complex way. I had to advise my client. I'm like, listen, this might be a great venture, but I can't understand what you're saying. How the heck? And I've dealt with really sophisticated high-tech clients. There's no way an immigration officer is going to understand this, right? Like, let's break this down. Let's try to make a business model that might make more sense. So
Matt, how big are your business plans? Like you said, it's going to be very detailed and comprehensive. And the reason I'm asking, because let's say if you draft a business plan for let's say L1 visa or E2 visa, I can see how we can do this within like 20, maybe 30 pages. So comparing to those, which is like a standard business plan, how big are the EB-5 business plans?
Personally, I don't like business plans more than 20 pages in general. Unfortunately, it doesn't always go that way, right? Sometimes there's always a struggle between just dumping lots of data, working with clients, working with documentation. If your plan goes beyond 40 pages, find something to cut, right? Mm-hmm. So I gotta tell you, describing something with 2 words instead of 3 words is always better, right? So the meaning behind that is if you can describe things with less words and depict the same information, you've got a much a much better channel of communication that way. So if this was my application, I would want a business plan to be 30 pages, no fluff, a lot of sources, documented properly, visually appealing, easy to follow, easy to understand, right? And I would make sure to hit all the matter quote criteria. Personally.
How do you guys work with the clients? Let's say I'm your client. I come to you, say, hey Matt, I got this business idea about providing cloud services to the American corporate companies. I want to invest $2 million. So where we go from here?
Yeah, great question. So our culture and philosophy is consultative, right? What does that mean? So first thing we do is we have a process known as discovery. So we're ninjas when it comes to startups. We know the right questions to ask, and we want to learn everything about your business, right? So there'll be a pre-kickoff call process where we do an exchange of information and what we call a data dump, okay? So the real work comes in the consultative process. So our methodology is, let's anticipate questions that an immigration officer is going to ask you on this business plan, and let's make sure we have very good answers, right? Look, we've got a lot of experience. I could probably suggest a lot of solutions, but I want my clients to internalize this. I want this to come from them. It has to be their decision, because I can make the best business plan in the world for you, but you gotta execute. Guess what? If you have the best business plan in the world and you're approved and your business fails, I did not do you a service by getting your EB-5 business plan approved. I want you to take this to the next level. I want you to be able to execute. I want you to be able to understand the numbers. I want you to really create these jobs, because you've got to sustain them. And I want your $2 million that you invested, hypothetical client Stanislav, right? I want you to create a generational company out of this, right? This is the happiest thing you could do for me, is to be successful with your new venture. So
that's more like a philosophy behind it. But what's like the exact technical way to do this? Like, you send me the questionnaire, you just record my answers yourself. Like how you start the process of getting the information from the client?
I appreciate you taking this back. So yes, absolutely, we do an intake form. Other services just really rely on that. So we're a little less light on the intake. We're very heavy on the consultative process. So what we do is we have a kickoff call with a detailed interview, and we have a system, right? Like, our system is based on the information we know. What are the gaps of information that we know an immigration officer is going to want to know in this business plan? We ask those questions, we identify the gaps, we inform our client, these are your key gaps in this whole process. We need to get these answers. We, as a consultant, many times will suggest solutions, right? But we have to get this information answered one way or another. Once we do that, right, the business plan is in concert with your immigration attorney, right? A professional, good team is key to success. And something that makes an attorney stand out, like a Stanislav versus other attorneys, Stanislav will make sure the documentation aligns with the business plan. As professionals, we know, right, sometimes there's a little bit of a dance where, like investments, source of funds, documents, resumes, business plans, we all got to make this align, right? So we understand there's going to be iterations. So once we get all the information, we research, we actually pay for our data, and we have access to data behind what we call a firewall, which is data that you have to pay for. We have a rich library of research that we've accumulated over our 10 years of business. So we'll go ahead, draft a narrative to your plan that meets matter of code. We'll build your financial projections, which are so important in this plan, right? The numbers really, really matter, because they support the viability of you being able to hire the people you need to hire. And we'll present a draft, right?
Who's getting the first draft, Matt? Is it a client or it's an attorney?
Every relationship is different, right? So we have attorneys that really manage the relationships. They want to see the plan, they want to approve it. We have clients that take the lead, right, and they're more sophisticated and they review it, right. I always recommend that the obviously the attorney and client both have their input. On the client's perspective, this plan needs to be genuine to their initiative. And then there's a compliance component, right? Someone needs to review the work to make sure it aligns with documentation. So that's generally the best outcome. And then we go through a reiteration process. We offer our clients a month of unlimited support after we turn in the plan. And many times people want to come back, right? For a small fee, we can open up a revision window and stay very active on this project. If we want to spend more tender care and time on developing this plan. So once we have a draft that we agree, find visuals being very important. So we have an in-house graphic artist, we design the plan, we can brand them. And another key component of this, right? Like your business plan needs to be very credible. A lot of times we help our clients build websites, social handles, a little bit of marketing, right? To show a U.S. immigration officer, if you look up this company, it looks real. So we're very comprehensive in our support, and we like to build relationships even beyond the business plan. So that's our philosophy, that's our technical process. A lot of things I can share on what makes a great business plan. Stanislav, if you want me to walk you through that. But I'm going to open the door to you. Tell me what you think is important in this process that you'd like me to share.
Basically I kind of was already telling this through these questions because we've been doing this for many years, and I think that it's very important to potential clients to understand the exact methodology how someone is working on a particular case. That's why in my company we are so specific about the processes, how we lead our cases. Let's say we have only 6-month contracts with our clients. So regardless of the case, of the visa, or the difficulty level of the case, we know for sure that once we start working on this case, as long as I approve to start working on the case, right? We just don't take any case that comes our way. We need to make sure that there is a strategy for the case that I develop before we start, and we have the whole team ready to implement those processes and get all the paperwork ready. So we'll never file the case over like 6 months period, because we know that we have deadlines, we have certain things that needs to be done, and we're very open about this. So when we recommend the vendors or our partners to our clients, we want to make sure that they also have some kind of processes that first of all align with our vision and our movement of the case through the preparation process, and that there will be quality product, and that there's a transparency in the way that process is going. Basically, those questions that I was asking you, Matt, they were directed from that philosophy, from that understanding, like what a client needs to expect from working with you. Like what are the difficulties? Like I want to know what's the number one problem that your clients face when they work with you, for example.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing that up, because that's a huge component of what we do. So a lot of immigrant entrepreneurs, right? They're not familiar with the lay of the land, how business is conducted in the US, right? And clients need to understand this is your venture, right? And many times clients want the onus of the actual business model to be developed by their consultant, right? Well, that could be done. A biggest challenge is like really taking ownership of your venture, like really understanding what it is, right? The consultant may not be the right person to price exactly what your services go for, actually develop what your service is. So sometimes those lines get blurred a little bit, and that's a challenge, and we have to educate our clients on internalizing that. We can research, we can substantiate, right? Things like that, for sure. The second thing is understanding the assumptions, right? So a big component of this is you're spending this money, right? This money that is invested has to be known as has to be considered at risk, right? So a challenge we often face is, clients want to resist spending money on items, right, that are expenses that they may not recover unless the company creates revenues. What does that usually translate to, right? A lot of clients sometimes want to invest in things such as real estate, capital that's like liquid that they can recover. And I have to oftentimes come in and be like, listen, I understand, right? Like you want to remodel a house, and maybe even create the jobs by doing that, which would be very rare. This is not in the spirit of the program, right? So you have to know your investment has to be at risk. Buying a home or buying real estate really isn't considered at risk. And it's not that you can't do that. Sometimes real estate can be a component of what you do, but the expenditures that meet the EB-5 requirement, right? These are items that you have to be able to be willing to put at 100% at risk, and you have to be all in, right? So I have to oftentimes help guide clients, right? Like this is a roadmap on how money is going to be spent. And a lot of times it's very interesting. EB-5 is a very dynamic program. What people don't understand is you might already have a business in the US, and there's no timeline and when you can actually use your business to apply for an EB-5 visa. So what does that mean, right? You could be under an E2 visa, or you may not even be under a visa. You could have started your business for $100,000. You could have grown your venture over time and reinvested. So one hidden truth about this program that recently has just gone a lot better, is a big opportunity that I want to share, Stanislav, is a lot of times people can start more organically. People may not have all the funds now, but you can go in, start a smaller venture, grow your venture, and there's no time limit. Reinvest, grow. And just like Stanislav said, the program has three simple requirements. As long as you can show that you invested $1 million over any period of time and created 10 jobs, you can be eligible for this EB-5 green card. So there's some new laws that even made this opportunity sweeter, right? There's something known as the RIA, the Reform and Integrity Act. I recommend everyone read about it. With this new act, you can concurrently file your E2 visa and your EB-5 visa. So if you're eligible for a lower class visa, you can actually come now, work on your venture, and as you go through the process of approval, right, have use your enterprise to apply for an EB-5 visa. And it's great because Stanislav and I can work with you. We can develop a business plan for a different visa class, and then help evolve your business into something bigger. So that's something we take a lot of pride in, and helping entrepreneurs at all different levels navigate this complex system with USCIS.
Yes, definitely. It's a good. Sometimes it's a good strategy to come to the States on E2 visa and then use the same enterprise for the purpose of EB-5. However, if that's the general plan, or at least an option, because remember, we need to remember that you cannot come to the States with on non-immigrant visa with immigrant intent, right? So we gotta be very careful about that. But still, if it's a general possibility that this could be the strategy for the case, we need to plan from day one. It's not that okay, let's do E2 and then switch. No, that's could be nightmare, or it could be even impossible in the future in certain circumstances. So that should be the strategy from very beginning. Also, you cannot forget that coming on O1 or even L1 visa to start a business or continue to control and direct the business is also could be the options for the purpose of switching then to EB-5. Now, Matt, let's talk about more like practical things. From your experience, 2023, is there any more popular business for the purpose of active investment for EB-5? What your experience tells us?
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more diversity of projects. I mean, listen, the most popular business is some kind of franchise, daycare, restaurant, simple businesses. You can't go wrong with that. Day in, day out, all sorts of retail, service type businesses. I've seen some very interesting things come to fruition lately. One emerging trend I'll tell you I've seen is manufacturing, right? Manufacturing's become a little more popular in the US. And there's something that's music to an immigration officer's ear. There's a trend known as reshoring, taking jobs that were in foreign countries, like namely in China and India and other countries, right? And making an economic viable model to move that business in the US. So there's a lot of technology and automation doing that. We've had the privilege to work on projects that are related to that. That's done really well. And people are having more faith in the EB-5 program now, right? It's gone through a little bit of turmoil. So what that translates into projects is a little bit of diversity. Like I've done some of the first tech-related higher risk type startups with EB-5. That's incredible, right? It was very far and few in the past. And right now, people are starting to take risk in more high-tech related ventures, right? You normally wouldn't see that. But in truth, the bread and butter is always there, right? Like a lot of retail, hospitality, right? Like so many hospitality related ventures, they do really well. It's very, very easy to create jobs for those types of businesses.
Good. Yes, definitely. We also see we see that trend in the technology sector, and quite a few of our clients they moving towards bringing some technology or software or some kind of IT services. And I do believe that investment of $1 million or more in something like this could have a great success, but also there is a higher risk just because it's technology, and you never know what's going to happen in this sector. Matt, what's your best advice to potential clients who have the budget, who have some kind of experience in developing business, but they come to you with no exact idea of what could be done for the purpose of this program? Do you have any solutions or maybe advice for people like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to explore different solutions. So first thing I like to tell my clients, right? Like if you're going to do the direct EB-5 visa program, it's got to be something that you should have some experience with. So number one, let's look at your resume, right? And let's see how that translates into a business model that works in the US. Okay. Number two, right? You can make an investment, but it's allowed to have partnerships, right? You could co-invest, you can partner with you can partner with other entrepreneurs. You can even invest in a venture and grow that venture and use the EB-5 program. So there's creative things. If there's a business you really like, right? You can have one investor in one project. In the past, you could pool direct EB-5 investors. You cannot do that anymore. But if there's a small business, like I'll tell you something, we have a client starting a trampoline park, right? And organically, there was an individual who's not who is a citizen who needed to raise money, right? He put a lot of his own money, and they created a partnership, and he didn't have to start his own business, right? I would say probably the most common way is let's look at a lot of franchises. There's a ton of franchises out there. Not everyone is friendly for EB-5, but some are, right? An experienced attorney like Stanislav and I can do a project evaluation to make sure it makes sense. where you can create the jobs. You can absolutely do that as well. I as my role as an investment banker and broker dealer on that side of the house, right? Sometimes we can even place you into projects like that, right? Sometimes you can, it's tricky, but if you have a plan to buy a business and grow it, which is complex, and Stanislav will tell you, because you got to create 10 new additional jobs. But if you've got the risk tolerance for that, right, you can find a business that's operating, and if you have plans to grow it, is great, right? There are some very technical ways to maneuver around buying a distressed business and preserving jobs, right? So if there's a business you want to turn around that's, that needs to be recapitalized, and you can make a strong case that these jobs would have been eliminated and you saved it, you saved those jobs. You can also do a turnaround venture, right? I would recommend having a very experienced attorney review a project like that, because in fair warning, those are difficult to be approved, but I've seen them done. So a lot of great creative solutions, and I'd recommend brainstorming if anyone wants to discuss solutions for this.
Oh, I think it was. Thank you, Matt. It was very comprehensive answer to this question, and I'm really happy that the first point that you mentioned is to do something that you actually have experienced in before, and I think that's crucial, and that's actually my answer when some my clients come to me like, "Hey, Stanislav, any business ideas?" And I'd be like, hey, what you've done in the past? Let's see if past 5 years. Let's take a look and go from there. And like you said, the franchising ideas could be in the view. So yes, and definitely. That route you took as describing that you can purchase an existing business and add 10 jobs to it. It's another solution, and that's what I actually meant when I was describing the EB-5 program, saying, hey, there is an active and a passive, but there is more. That's what I was referring to. There's more to the active investment. You can purchase like a business that's going downhill and basically save those jobs and add more to make it 10 jobs. So there are definitely ways to be more creative with the type of businesses and companies to be purchased or to be saved or to be open, and all those options are available for the purpose of EB-5. Okay, good. We are getting close to 1 hour. So, guys, now it's really time to ask us questions if you do have something in your mind. And again, don't be shy. There is no silly questions. There is no bad questions. If something bothers you, definitely drop it down to the comment section so we could catch on that and maybe deliberate more and explain what's going on. I do believe that Matt was, I cannot say about myself, sometimes I ramble and say crazy things, but Matt was very structured and explaining things pretty good. So make sure that you drop the questions if you have any. Matt, let's touch maybe on one more topic before we move on to the gifts part and the contact part and stuff like this. From your experience, and again, I'm pretty sure that your answer is going to match what I already mentioned, but just talking about business plans, what's the number one thing that immigration officer wants to see right off the bat when he starts analyzing the business plan? From your experience, what bothers immigration officer the most?
Very interesting question. So I'm a huge believer in clarity. So what I like to do is put USCIS's guidelines right front and center. Like, this is what you've asked for, right? These are the definitions of what makes a compliant business plan. This is where we've answered it. Here's an executive summary, and show me that you can create those 10 jobs. Answer the question, right? The business plan is supposed to invest $1 million, $1.05 million plus with non-TA areas, create 10 full-time positions, right? Show people the definitions of what makes a manageable business plan, an executive summary, and how and when those jobs are going to be created. That needs to be front and center. Obviously, the clarity of your service needs to be clear with a good executive summary.
Very good, very good. Straight to the point. I'm also a big believer of clear, transparent, and understandable whatever document was sent to USIS, not only business plans but everything else. But definitely for business plans, which are very complex documents, clarity is very, very important. Okay. Let's see. I see two questions. Dennis or Denise, can you please specify a little bit more how long you overstayed when you came to the US on the J1 visa? Because this is important to know, and I will be able to answer that question. Let's see, anonymous user 7. If someone has an asylum process in US and he lives there, is he eligible for the EB-5 visa? And you know, if you asked me this question a couple of years ago, I would say maybe. I would say maybe. However, at this point, this is likely no. Why? Because yes, there is a matter of LK, the precedent from USIS that says that not inviting a person to the interview is a technical issue with the government. So if you applied within the 6 months of your tourist status or other legal status without overstaying, then technically it's a fault of the government. But the treatment of this case for the past few years changed significantly, and we even have the confirmed cases where the USIS approved not necessarily EB-5 but any EB type of visa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or maybe even green card lottery, and we have the confirmed cases from other attorneys where USCIS withdraws its approval and makes a denial. So we see that there's a negative impact across the field from asylum seekers who wait for the interview. If you have a strong case and you just want to get your interview, there is a mandamus action. And we for the past 2-3 years, and this is something like we do basically talent, investment, and business visas. But what we do on top of that is a mandamus actions, and we've been filing more than 25 cases for the past couple of years, and all 25 cases got their interviews. Not only Скотина.
This is Matt from Planwriters, planwriters.net. Happy to help any entrepreneur in need. And looks like Stanislav is back. Stanislav, it seems like we've kind of come to our final hour. I don't know if there's anything left to say, but you know,
Yeah,
on my side, I offered a free valuation on your business plan, and I can actually share an actual EB-5 or non-EB-5 business plan upon request.
Definitely, yes. It's time to finish up, and yes, guys, please either scan immediately from your other device the QR codes to get your free evaluation for EB-5 or any other business visa, or screenshot and then do it from a different device. This is very important. Also, screenshot or go directly to this QR code. This is a direct link to our corporate WhatsApp in case you guys wanna ask us some questions, or you wanna follow up on something you did before. Make sure you do that. We are sending the link that's going to be active for a little bit. The guide how to avoid mistakes in choosing original center for the EB-5 investment program. You guys make sure that you download this guide right now, because it's going to be active maybe for 24 hours. Then we're going to remove that the document from there. Download it, study it, make sure you use it if you go the passive investment route. Let's move on. The questions. I will definitely examine your answers to the forms, and Matt is going to be more than happy to schedule one-on-one with you to go over your business ideas and maybe give you some fresh ideas towards your business plan, be it EB-5 visa, be it L1, E2, O1, EB2 national interest waiver, whatever that's on your mind. Matt is the guy to go to. And let me address Denise's question. Okay, Denise, you overstayed for 10 months. So that means that we look at two things here. If it's more than 6 months and if it's more than a year. So you in the first category, 6 months, more than 6 months, but less than a year. That means that you had a 3-year ban to enter the US and not a 10-year ban, which is when you overstay for over a year. That means that because it was in 2013, then it's more than 3 years past, so you should be good, especially for the immigrant visa. Maybe with the non-immigrant visa, they may be suspicious about your past things, but with the EB-5, EB-1A, EB-1C, and other EB type of visas, you should have a clear path to get your green card. Also, guys, make sure that you screenshot the QR codes for all the platforms on internet that we post our content, and make sure you definitely subscribe to YouTube channel and Instagram, and others a matter of your choice, because we post content differently on. We don't repeat the content. In other words, it's all unique for each platform. So, Matt, thank you very much for your time, for your expertise. Anything else you want to add to what we discussed today?
No, thank you so much, Stanislav. I encourage everyone to participate in EB-5. I just want to say that if you can make it work, a lot of change, a lot of positive changes come to the program, and there's a lot of interest. So if this is something you want to do, I would say the timing is better now than in the future, because as we know, increased demand will increase wait times. So while the demand is still surging and moderate compared to what it will be, no better time than now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt, for that. And my last remark, which we promised but we did not address, is the wait time. And definitely the wait time right now is about 4 years if you stay outside of the US. However, the reform of 2022, which happened a little bit over a year ago, provides for opportunities if you are in the US to file the adjustment of status petitions and get the work permit and advance parole while you wait on approval of your EB-5 petition, which is amazing because work permit and advance parole is like, I call it green card light, because basically it gives you all the options that the green card gives you. And also the projects that are, they call them infrastructural projects or projects that are in rural areas, like in the agricultural areas, they get a faster approvals. And Matt just told me that they had a case with some rural area enterprise, some business outside of the city, in other words, getting approved for about 3 months. We had experience with the project, agricultural project being approved for 6 months. So that's the science coming from USCIS saying, hey guys, if you want to get a faster approval for your EB-5 active investment, give us either the high unemployment areas projects or some kind of infrastructural projects, maybe like in agricultural sector, maybe production, building some manufacture, something along those lines. So if you had those ideas in the back of your mind, do use them when planning for EB-5 projects. With this being said, Matt, thank you very much for your expertise and for your time. It was good, entertaining, and engaging. We'll keep in touch regarding the future projects. And guys, make sure you contact Matt and his company through the website. Schedule the free one-on-one to get the insight what's going to happen in the future. Make sure you fill out the questionnaires in a free evaluation form, and keep track of the future events that we're going to announce on those platforms. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good end of the week. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.